Alright, kawan-kawan, this will be, I believe, the most hyped up IPO this year. It would be very hard to top this. And the reason we know this is because we get invited into analyst briefings. These are exclusive briefings only for people in the industry, in the fund management industry. And I believe there was around 200 analysts that attend this round.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything.
Yeah, there's just not enough seats. People are standing also behind just to attend this briefing.
Correct. We actually have two of our guys who went there, and they did not see each other.
Yeah.
That's how big the event was. Anyways, too busy to find stock ideas? Check out Fire Pro to shortcut your research time and effort by 90%. 10% off link in the comments and description. IPO details. So 44 cents per share, roughly market cap 880 million ringgit. If you take the latest figures of 43 million, which is massive, you're looking at a trailing current price to earnings of 20 times. So of course, before we go into the details of the company, one of the more important details is how to subscribe. So the closing for the application is the 10th of January. So by the time you watch this, I believe you would have 1 day to make a decision.
Or if you are fast, maybe 2 days.
Yes, maybe 2 days.
Yeah.
So these are the IPO details. Now, before let's show you how you can do it through our partners, Mumu.
Yes. So at the end of the video, we'll show you the step-by-step on how do you subscribe using Mumu. But first, if you are already a user of Mumu, you can actually subscribe to it. The listing for Kopi is already up in their IPO segment. So it's very simple. All you just need to go to this IPO place, and then you just click the subscribe button, key in the number of shares you want to buy, and then just subscribe. And make sure to use our coupon code FIRE24 if you are a new user, so that you can get 40 ringgit free cash rewards. And on top of that, you can get a lot of rewards as well. Let's say if you deposit 1,000 ringgit, you can get 100 ringgit cash rewards, so on and so forth. So we go to Oriental Kopi's business.
Okay, so I think it's relatively straightforward, right? They're an F&B outlet. The food that they serve are Malaysian classics. So you have, the chicken noodle soup, kai si hor fun. You have
nasi lemak, egg tarts,
nasi lemak, prawn noodles. And what is very interesting about Oriental Kopi, and you can actually see this in their KLIA branch, the KLIA 2 branch, is that they are very One Malaysia, right? You see not just Malays and non-Malay customers, but you also see non-Malay and Malay staff working.
And you also see like tourists also. So this is actually like one of the, I would say, if it's not number one, then it's number 2 or number 3. Basically, it's a top 3 tourist spot also to come and eat. This is what I heard from my cousins as well.
And according to our analysts, they mentioned one of their objectives as a company, right, is to introduce Malaysian food to the entire world. So I think that's really good. And yeah, let's go.
Yes. Okay. So not only they are just doing like retailing, like you see in the picture over here, right? It's always like crowded in shopping malls. They also sell like those packaged goods. If you guys didn't know, like outside their aisle, right, they like display some of their coffee brands, some of their sambals. Is in case if whoever wants to just take like a ready-made or like a powder form of their coffee, right, you can actually purchase out from their outlet. So that's one of their business model. And I didn't know that they have a joint venture in Singapore, one outlet in Singapore. So this is
with the Paradise Group.
Yes, and that one is under a JV model, joint venture. Yeah. So they own like 30% of that joint venture. The Singapore Paradise Group Limited, they own 70%. So yeah, this is a very, very simple business model. It's just a restaurant F&B kind of business model. Yeah, so this is basically their corporate structure. You can see how many Sendian Berhads and also the 30% that they own for Paradise.
But I do want to add, going back to earlier point, I think what is interesting about company is the fact that they really cater to all different races in Malaysia, because later we'll see they only have currently 19 outlets, right, excluding the Singapore one. So there's a lot of space to grow still in Malaysia, and there are very few F&B outlets actually in Malaysia that is able to service both Malays and non-Malays, obviously because of religious restrictions, right?
Yep, Exactly. Now, this is also some of the interesting facts if you're reading their prospectus. So this is the number of outlets that they managed to grow over the years. You can see it expanded very, very fast. And what's interesting is that they also disclose the capex needed for each of the year. So on average, right, you can calculate why did they want to allocate certain amount of money towards setting up a new outlet. So in 2023 to 2024, they spent roughly about 2.4 to 2.6 million in capex. Later, you see their utilization of proceeds. Under the new outlets, they say that they want to spend about 2.8 million, so which is justifiable. Okay, so breakdown, you can see that they broken down into cafe chain operations and distribution and also others. So this one is more on trading, but they did say that I think from April 2024, they have stopped doing this trading business. So they're going to be focusing on these two main ones. So you can see that the growth for their in-store sales of packaged foods is actually growing a lot, which means that more people are actually getting their already made stuff in the cafe. And also they are doing a lot of these retail distribution kind of like business. So this is like something like your wholesale kind of like model. So a little bit similar to SDS, but SDS is more towards catering the bakery side of things. And also their revenue generation is 50-50 from retail and wholesale. So far for Oriental, it's 80% is still like in-store F&B.
So, but
sales.
you can the key thing to highlight here, I think, is the pace. So, if you look at 2021, the in-store sales for packaged foods, which I think is the key here, right? It's less than 2%, but in the span of around 4 years, it has grown six times. Actually, the share has grown 6 times, which means that the growth has been quite phenomenal.
Yes, and also you can see that the margins, the gross margin for in-store sales package is the highest. It's about 54% for 2024. I mean, this is a given because you are just packaging stuff only.
So this is gross margins?
Yes, gross margins, GP margins. And then for distribution, it's about 51%. This also is pretty
but
high.
But the F&B is at 25. Interesting.
Yes, exactly. Because this one, I think they need to do a lot of, number one, you need to pay for material, for ingredients, and then you pay for labor, and also you need to pay for the rent. So I think that's why it's all lumped inside the F&B service. So also, this is also another interesting breakdown from their direct distribution. You can notice that they broken down into dine-in, takeaway, e-commerce platform, and others, and also resellers, right? So you can see that there's a trend where e-commerce, they are selling it more over there. More people are actually online from their website. I don't think they categorize under the Grab under here because there's like a takeaway over here. So what this tells us is that their brand name in their online platform is actually pretty strong also. And probably it's going to be up and coming.
800,000 to 19 million. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see the contribution level in terms of dine-in and takeaway. Initially, it's like majority is just people dining into their cafes and eat, right? Right now, more people are actually buying their stuff. They are not going to the outlet, but they are buying their stuff like at home just to get their coffee or maybe even get their sambal. So which is pretty insane. And also another thing that's interesting, which is their resellers, which means there is more wholesalers are demanding for their product and they want to like help them sell to even a wider network of customers. So this is another growing trend. So most likely these two will be contributing a lot in terms of their total revenue. Now, if you look at their growth, it's very good. Obviously, you can see number of outlets is growing 240%, 120, 55%. But you notice that the revenue per outlet is also still growing, but then the growth is actually slowing down. You can see that 2023-24 is still growing 24 to 35%. Profit also is kind of like growing a little bit recently, but if you look at in 2022-2023, there was actually a slightly drop in profit. So what this tells us is that probably the growth in terms of sales as their outlet increases may start to like stagnant or maybe even taper down a little bit because maybe they are not really charging more. Although they did mention that every 6 months they will increase their product selling price by 2 to 3%.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's an interesting point that we have gotten from the analyst briefing. But yeah, you can see that their growth is actually still pretty going well. But whether they can grow like a double digit 30%, 40%, I think that one is going to be quite difficult. Yeah, so if you're curious, because we have our analysts who attended to that briefing, there's a lot of information that is not inside the prospectus. It's all coming from the CEO's mouth. So you can see that some of the information over here, like they package food. This one is not disclosed inside their prospectus. Like coffee is 50% of the packaged food
Which,
revenue.
to be fair, it's not like, I mean, it's expected, right?
Yeah,
You'd
kind of
expect,
expected
right?
lah. Yeah. And also the payback period over here, this also is another interesting thing, which
This
is
payback per outlet.
yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
it's like 10 to 12 months per outlet. This one is very, very impressive. And then there's other like interesting information, table turnover, central kitchen over here, which can cater up to 40 outlets.
And Central Kitchen, later we'll talk about it, is their growth plans, right, in the future.
Yeah. Okay, so peers, you can see that there's a lot of cafes type business over here. The only listed one, it is actually Oriental Kopi. I mean, if you don't take Starbucks coffee into account, because they are still like a Sendian Berhad, but Berjaya, it is a listed company. Last time, OldTown was listed, but they got taken over in 2017 December. So really, there's not really a peer-to-peer comparison in terms of listed companies. Oriental is the first one.
But OldTown is the closest.
Yes, OldTown is the closest. But you can see that their margins is actually the top among all of these F&B players, besides Tea Garden and also Good Taste. So yeah, pretty strong numbers they have.
The sad part here, I would say, is I'm very surprised Ali Mutu Ahok is negative profits.
Yeah, this one is the 99 Speedmart's owner, if I'm not mistaken. He owns some stake for Ali Mutu and Ahok. Yeah, so quick comparison, which is OldTown and Oriental Kopi. So I got this number for OldTown, which is when it got taken over by a Dutch company, right? They got taken over by for 23.63 price to earnings, which is about 1.47 billion. You can see that their valuation is almost the same.
Yeah.
Which means that maybe 20 times it is a fair valuation for F&B or coffee run business. But if you look at the number of outlets, right? Oriental Kopi is very little, very small only. They have 180 for OldTown, and you can see the revenue per outlet and profit per outlet is actually, there's a big difference. So this tells us the power of like, you don't need to be so big, you don't need to expand so aggressively to make money.
That's right.
This one is just, you need to be small. As long as you target the right crowd, you are located at the right place, then I think the revenue.
The most important is optimization here. So if you the challenge for Oriental Kopi, and this will depend on their discipline, is any chain or any F&B related company, this includes 7-Eleven especially, that wants to expand, will need to face this issue. So for example, in the first 500 outlets of 7-Eleven, fantastic, right? But the minute it crosses that and you have to go outside of Klang Valley, outside of maybe Penang or Johor now, then the returns on capital actually starts to drop a lot. Yeah, you're sure you can tell people we have X amount of outlets, but the purchasing power of people here compared to say somewhere in Bentong, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be really big. So Oriental Kopi's job is to ensure that if I were Oriental Kopi, I would be looking at the optimization. So the minute I need to know in my head that there's a certain return threshold that I want, and if after a year of trying the returns are X, I should be able to cut it off if it's below that. So that's the most important as far as shareholders are concerned. Then you can maintain this profit per outlet thing.
Okay, so that's the business side of things. The team. Now this guy, Dato Chan Jensen, I think he's a legend because he didn't really study university or college. After he graduated in secondary school, 16 years old already, he started to work as a salesperson. So he was selling mobile phone accessory. Then after 16, he became a partner with the same company, which is Digital World Enterprise, from 2001 to 2007. So what this tells us is that he actually became a partner when he was around like 18 to 19 years old. So yeah, that's very impressive. Then after that, he did his own businesses. He started a lot of like different ventures, also related to like mobile accessory, PC, like distribution kind of like business. Then he co-founded Golden Whale. So if you didn't know the Black Whale Hei Jing, this one it is his. He co-founded with someone, which is Chan. This Chan is actually his sister. In 2018, then. On top of that, he also co-founded Oriental Kopi in 2020. So this guy is like everywhere.
So he's a serial entrepreneur. That's what he is, right?
Yeah. And not only that, he also like did beauty also, which is another bubble tea like business chain. So he is like all around the places. And he's still very young. He's like 42 years old only. So yeah, this is
Well, his
when
sister who works with him is even younger, right?
yeah. So when I see his like profile, right, I think it's like he's just a mad guy lah. He's like a Elon Musk, but
In a good
Malaysia
way,
versus yeah, he's very mad. Okay, so the other one is Chan Yan Ming. This one
The
is his
sister.
sister. So she took like the normal job lah, like those product sales engineer at first. But at the age of 26, she actually came out of corporate and she co-founded the Golden Whale with the brother, and also yeah, then the rest is history. He also did like Oriental Coffee and also beauty, all the stuff. And she is the wife of Mr. Kueh over here, Kueh Song Ling. So he also is very young. He's 34 years old only. He also started working as a sales and application engineer. Then worked a few corporate. Then at 28, he also co-founded Golden Whale alongside with Datuk Chan Jian Chen and also his wife Chan Yan Ming. So this Oriental Kopi's management team is actually it's a family-run business.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's like cousins of Dato Chan, then there's also cousins of like Miss Chan over here. So yeah, it is still similar to like 99 Speedmart, similar to most business actually in Malaysia. It is controlled by family. Now, what's interesting is that they don't have any offer for sale. So the reason
They're
why
not
they're
selling
going
any shares,
they're going public is purely just to really want to expand their brand and expand their business. And the major shareholder is still Datuk Chan, followed by his sister and also his brother-in-law, which is Mr. Kueh. And then there's a few names over here. Mr. Kueh also is related to Mr. Kueh Song Ling.
He's a brother.
Yeah, and Ho Po Che, this one he's the head of chef.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So head of chef also he got some stake in the company.
So it's 2 point something million. I think.
Yeah. So this is the net worth just from their Oriental Kopi.
20, sorry, not 2.4.
Yeah.
20.
So this is their Oriental Kopi's holding only. And you can see that they are already a multi-millionaires already. Even the head of chef also is like a 20.6 million. Just assuming Oriental Kopi is successfully listed for 44 cents. Yeah, this is the amount of net worth you have. Okay, so numbers, I don't think we need to say because I think a lot of people already know already. They are growing a lot. Margins also right now, it has actually been growing a little bit.
But there's a small dip, right? I believe.
Yeah, a small dip at the moment. Not really a dip.
Flat
also, it's
flat
a flat
line.
It's
Okay.
a flat margin at the moment. Strong brand because you see that they don't really need to spend a lot of sales and marketing. They spend only like less than 1%, and then they can grow their sales by 2x. So which is very impressive already. They don't need to rely a lot on this online presence or offline. Yeah, this is also a net cash company. It is the same with OldTown in the past when they listed. A very net cash, very free cash flow generative business model. You don't need a lot of debt to run. Cash flow, and also you can see that their dividend payout also is quite a lot, 40%, and they have a target dividend policy, which is they plan to pay about 30% payout ratio. So yeah, this company will be like a dividend paying stock, but the yield may not be as attractive because this, I think they are still in the growth phase. So what that means is that they may not be paying like a 5% dividend yield. Probably it's going to be a 2% or less than that. Yeah, when I was reading, when I was like tabulating these numbers, right, the returns of investor capital is just very high. It's like 93% for their ROIC and also ROE. This is a very, very, that's why there's a reason why their payback period is just 10 to 12 months only. Yeah. So the business, once they just set up, they can easily make sales and profit and cover back their whatever things they spend. So growth and risk. Number one is Central Kitchen. They're going to be setting up a new head office. It is a 3-story office in Selangor. So what this Central Kitchen is, right? A lot of people was worried about this one because they think that if let's say they set up this one, would the product quality deteriorate? Because right now it's being cooked in the outlet, right? So we got some information from our analysts is that the Central Kitchen is only used as a space to meal prep. So if you want to cut your veggies, you want to like prepare like certain kind of like ingredients on the side, right? So that it's easier to be portable from that Central Kitchen to each of the outlet. So the cooking will still be done in the outlet. It will not be done in the Central Kitchen at the moment.
Usually it's the ingredients, preparation, things like that. That is for Central Kitchen.
And this Central Kitchen, they can cater to up to 40, approximately 40 outlets. So right now they have like 20 outlets,
Yeah, so
right?
double.
Yeah, so they can cater to whatever they expanded to. So that's number one. Central Kitchen is going to be a huge chunk, one of the huge chunk, 54 million. Number two is that they're going to be expanding more outlets, not only in Malaysia, but also in Singapore as well. you can see that in Malaysia, this is their plan. Is basically they want to open another 13 more outlets for 2025, 2026, 2024. They did open one new one. And if you notice, the capex spending for each outlet is about 2.8 million, which is just now what I say in the first few slides, right? They spent about 2.4 to 2.6 billion capex in 2022 to 2023. That's also a reason why they are putting 2.8 million per outlet. But yeah, so they're going to be expanding over here, which is Pahang, Sarawak, Sabah. So far, they say that Sarawak, it is the top 5, I think.
Okay.
Top 5 most visited. And there's like a long queue lah. Always there's a long
Okay.
queue. So far, so good. So Singapore one, they're going to be opening two new additional Oriental Coffees in 2025, and they're going to be spending 10 million, but they're not going to be using all 10 million. Only 3 million will be fork out by them. The other 7 million will be funded by their local partner.
70,
Yeah, and their JV partner, they are only responsible for the accounting and financial matters. The SOP, how to do training menu, recipe will be all given by Oriental Kopi.
Yeah, and I think so some context is Oriental Group is quite a big group in Singapore. They own companies like Le Shrimp. It's
you mean Paradise Group?
Paradise
Group, yeah.
Paradise Group. They own ramen chain Le Shrimp. You can, I think in TRX there's one. So they and among other things, right? So what we suspect is it could be the case that they are going to use the connections with Paradise Group to eventually branch out into outside of Malaysia, Singapore.
Yeah, but the Oriental did mention that they want to like control they want to have some sort of control. So maybe the least favorable, because they like give out 3 type of business model. One is the master franchise, the other one is franchise model, and the last one is JV. So they say the least favorable, they don't want to do franchise. Yeah, they want to still have some control over there. Now, a few risks. Number one, obviously, is competition, because right now there is not really a direct apple-to-apple comparison against like Oriental Kopi other than OldTown White Coffee. But after OldTown White Coffee got taken over by the Dutch company, the quality just like died down already.
Yeah,
so that's why Oriental Kopi did so well. They managed to snatch a lot of market share from there. Number 2 is surprise inspection, because if you recall, one of their Johor outlet actually, there was like this immigration department people came in and they were trying to inspect everything. So that actually kind of caused a slight revenue loss, because there were actually crowds that is wanting to dine in over there. So assuming like if let's say there's any surprise inspection, I think there will be some sort of like material impact on their business, assuming that it is a very serious case. But so far, this one didn't really affect much in terms of their business-wise. Number 3, it is OldTown's downfall, the central kitchen. So assuming, let's say, the quality that is prepped inside the central kitchen is not so good, then it will definitely affect the food quality in the outlets itself. So that, I think this one is a very crucial thing. But I'm pretty sure they are smart enough and they did study OldTown's whatever business model. I mean, they are in the bubble tea chain also. They already know how competitive and how easily it is to get taken over by other competitors. So I'm sure that they can know what to do in order to maintain the product quality and also generate more revenue in the future.
So the thing about the central kitchen is that if you're good, then the central kitchen actually makes you even better. But if you're bad, then it's going to multiply the effect, because what the central kitchen does is standardization. So if the standard is good, then it's great. But if standard is bad, then it's...
Yeah. There's a reason why Family Mart did so well, because they took 1 to 2 years to plan out everything before they actually execute the Family Mart outlet. I think it's the same for OldTown also. They took some time before they actually launch OldTown. Okay, so some advantages that they have. Number 1, if you notice, Oriental's Coffee's outlet are all in a very high footfall places. Very, very saturated. There's a lot of people like running around. So their location so far has been very good, obviously because it's around Klang Valley. Johor also, they also pick like some malls that has a lot of footfall. The only challenges will be, moving forward, will be like, let's say areas like in Pahang or in Sabah. We need to see whether do they have like similar amount of people in that particular shopping mall, and whether their purchasing power, whether is it as good or not as is in Klang Valley. So that will be something that they will need to take note. Number 2 is strong brand. If you didn't know, they actually did have a lot of awards for Malaysia's book record. When I was reading, I
the thickest egg tart.
Yeah, over 6 cm. Then they got the...
And you just tried some yesterday, right?
Yeah, I tried some.
How
it's still good. It's still good.
It's good, right?
Yeah, it's still good. Yeah, it's a Portuguese egg tart. I mean, I love it. And then when I was reading it, I just ordered it. That's why I say it's very dangerous when you're reading.
Oh, so you ordered it through Grab?
Yeah, I ordered it through Grab. Yeah, because I was reading that, I saw the pictures like, wow, so nice. Okay, I order lah.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, they won a lot of Malaysia Book of Record, not only just for their egg tarts, but also number of egg tarts, so also their polo buns also and coffee. So all this means is that they already have like a very strong brand.
Yeah. I told our team, I said, because they know I'm some loosely in the F&B line, so they asked me like, what's actually special about this Oriental food, right? And I said, actually, there's no standout dish or whatever. It's just that everything feels like a 7 to 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
So, like when I reach KLIA2, let's say coming back from a trip, especially outside Malaysia, the first thing I want is what? I want Malaysian food, right? So the one thing that I'm going to get a trusted, brand of Malaysia would be Oriental Kopi. So that is why I would say. That's why I think so far their branding of wanting to introduce Malaysian food to the whole world, I think is quite on point. But we have to wait and see whether they can execute.
Yep. And the last one.
Yes, this is a big one.
Yeah, which is halal certified. So far, there are 9 outlets. At this year, year to date, it's around like 13, if I'm not mistaken. 13 outlets. They still have like 7 more that they haven't get yet, but they are planning to like try to apply for this halal certificate. But yeah, this one, if they manage to get more of this, it will definitely attract more Malays to come into this store. Okay, so some few key points before we call it the end of the video. So number one is the pros and cons of a central kitchen. I think just now MJ mentioned. The key is whether they can keep the quality, maintain the quality in the central kitchen, and then when they distribute out to the outlets, whether quality will remain the same or will it go down.
There's also another advantage of central kitchen, as we mentioned to our Fire Pro members yesterday. The cost savings you actually get. So if I can prepare everything in one place, then I do not need to hire as many people, because then they do not have to prep and cut the veggies and all that. So if you, technically the work done is the same, but you actually free up a lot more time on the guys who are running the restaurant, and they can focus more on customer service. I mean, imagine if you have to cut vegetables and then suddenly you have to collect money, and then suddenly you have to do all these different things. It's either you get one fella who can do a lot of things, which is what a lot of mom and pop shops do, or you have to hire more people. Both are suboptimal. But suppose you have the central kitchen, and then all the tedious work is done. So when it arrives, the tomatoes are already cut. So I just take it and then put it there.
Efficient. And then they can focus more on service. Yeah,
there you go.
That's very true. Okay, the second point over here, Dato Chan and Ho Po Chen is the key man risk. This is my opinion. Dato Chan, I believe, is the brain behind of how Oriental Kopi is so successful. And Mr. Ho, he is the head of chef, so I think people like his food. So if let's say he leave, right, I think it will be a little bit difficult unless the next chef have similar kung fu as him or maybe better. Third one is Singapore and packaged food will be the catalyst going forward. Besides just Malaysia's expansion. So we definitely know already that they're going to be like 2xing their number of outlets in Malaysia already. So the next key growth phase will be how can they utilize the JV with Paradise Group. And also their packaged food, because you can see that packaged food revenue contribution has been growing a lot.
In fact, I would say that is the most important area to focus on rather than the expansion. So if you ask most people, how would you expand a restaurant? They would say open new stores, right? Because logically, that's what you can see. It's easy to see. The problem with opening new stores, and even if you have a central kitchen, is that you now, of course, you have to even do research as to which areas are the best to open, and still take the risk, because, we've seen many high footfall areas, but nobody go into the shop, right? The second thing is you have to now manage more people. Yes, a central kitchen helps, but you still have to hire more people. Then you increase the chance of, let's say, we always hear stories about bad staff and, misbehaving. Eventually, I'm sure it's going to happen to Oriental to some degree. But the more stores you open, the more you're exposed to these kind of things. And of course, you have to spend more on capex, right? You have to spend money to build the thing up.
Yeah.
So why the packaged food is a much better solution to growing is because all you have to do is to make the package.
Yeah.
And then sell it.
True.
And the beauty is that you can sell it overseas.
Yep,
So
yep.
you go from a service-based business to a product-based business, and product-based businesses always scale better because they are international, right? I always use the example is, what a hospital is a service kind of company, right? There is international drug brands, but there's no international hospital, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah,
very
that's true.
it's
Yeah,
very
that's
local.
true.
It's
Yeah.
It's Hospital of Malaya,
Yeah.
Hospital Glen Eagles, whatever it is. But everyone uses AstraZeneca. Everyone uses Johnson Johnson. Everyone uses
Pfizer.
Pfizer or whatever.
Mm.
So if they can move into that package space, then the scaling is very good. Now, why I say this, is it because it's my brilliant analysis? No, because that's exactly what OldTown did.
Yeah.
OldTown, people in China were crazy about their OldTown white coffee.
Yeah. Not in China, like Australia, Hong Kong,
Yeah, exactly.
different everywhere lah.
And we were discussing also day before yesterday. I think what they can be is also not just introduce Malaysian food for the rest of the world, but Malaysian people outside of Malaysia will be a big revenue source as well. So I hope they do not ignore that. Obviously, they're in Singapore, so that's one.
Yep.
But outside of that, US, Australia, UK, yeah, they're only 200,000-300,000, but they're significant.
Yeah, and we are looking forward to their one of their packaged food, which is the beverage can. So yeah, I
Yes,
think
that's another one.
they're
Yes.
going to be replicating something like what OldTown White Coffee did with their canned coffee.
Zeus as well.
Yeah, Zeus as well. So yeah, we'll be looking for more new menus and new products. Number last one is the low dividend yield. I think this is how we mentioned. They are still in a growth phase, so that's why even though they mentioned they're going to be paying out 30% in terms of payout ratio, but don't expect the yield to be very high. It's something like 99 speed mile at the moment. So yields will be still quite low unless they hit like a saturation point or mature phase where they cannot expand already. Then probably the yields will start to increase. So yeah, that's the last point. And if you want to subscribe to Oriental Kopi, you can search out their ticker symbol, which is Kopi, which is very cute. And I
Very
find
cute, yeah.
Kopi. You can do it with Mumu. And if you're a new user, make sure to use our code FIRE24 to get an additional 40 ringgit cash rewards. Now, this is the step-by-step. Very, very easy only. It just take you less than 5 minutes. So number one, you need to set up a Mumu account. You can use our referral link in the description and comments. And then you just follow these steps. You can pause the video and watch it. We're just going to brief through very, very fast only. So number one, you need to open your CDS account if you haven't already. This is the step-by-step of how to do that. Click accounts, and then you just follow the numbers over here. And then it will guide you through on how do you set up your CDS account. Then after that, you want to go to the IPO portal on Mumu, which is you need to go to markets, select Malaysia, and also click on IPO. Then you will see Kopi's Oriental Kopi's ticker symbol over here. Then you click subscribe. After you click subscribe, then you just like put in how much you want to ballot for Oriental Kopi. But I would say it's going to be a very, very difficult IPO stock to ballot for because it's very well known, not only just the retail space, but also the institution. So institution also, they are trying to like grab hold of the share as much as they can. So definitely this is going to be a very, very well received IPO stock in 2024. So far. And 2025, sorry, at the moment. So yeah, that's about it for today's video. And you can check out Fire Pro if you want to see how we even get like those kind of information. If you want to get access to those exclusive information that we had for Oriental Kopi, you can read it in Fire Pro. Not only just Oriental Kopi, we have like many other companies that don't really share much on public, but they share within the fund managers or maybe even analyst briefings. We also do share it, our meeting notes over there. And if you want to check out what companies that we have initiated in our portfolio, so if you guys didn't know, we have three, FPM, our Malaysia portfolio, FPG, our global, and the boring portfolio, which is more towards dividend, if you like dividend and you're a conservative investor. And if you want to know what are the names behind these censored names that is listed over here, you can check it out in Fire Pro.
There's a reference portfolio for you to see whether, as you build your own portfolio, you can use it.
If you want to see how we do our write-ups, over here we have a free sample for you as well.
So check it
So
out.
the links will be in the description and comments.
Alright guys, hope you get the Oriental Kopi IPO. Hope you get rich out of it. But thanks for staying all the way until the end. Bye-bye.